Afternoon and welcome in. I decided to do this live. It's more like a live update, but I decided to see if anybody had any questions. But if there is no back and forth, as I suspect with the market the way it is, we won't have much of a, especially with the time, we won't have much of an audience base until it's released to the general public here on a repeat. So I came on because I'm hearing a lot of talk about how XRP is decoupling from Bitcoin and Ethereum. As Bitcoin's down 1.83%, Ethereum's down almost 4%, XRP's up about 1.2%. And as that's true for the day, as it's decoupled a little bit here, as we're going opposite from Bitcoin and Ethereum and the rest of the market, there's also the old adage that has played true about 85% of the time in these circumstances. When XRPs are rising and Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the likes are dropping, more times than not, it's not a decoupling, it's a last-ditch effort to try to lure some more people into the XRP, allow them to be exit liquidity for some of the bigger fish, and then it ends up just coming down in more, not a catastrophic fashion, but it comes down in a way where it leaves a lot of people on the hook. So if you're watching XRP this morning or this early afternoon, what I think should be the most important thing, you shouldn't be saying it's decoupled. Yeah, maybe it's attempting a decouple, and that's why I put that in the title, but to me, unless we were to break over, like I said, at 60.1 cents roughly, this is nothing. This is nothing. It's an attempted decouple, but with more of like the overall feel that they're just trying to trap more people in for an eventual bigger move down, as XRP doesn't generally just move on its own and ends up playing that way for the longevity. Most of the time when it has this supposed decoupling style or attempted decouple, as most people will say, it ends up breaking down eventually, and it'll end up trapping more people. So when you see Bitcoin and Ethereum and all of them start breaking down, for me, XRP, unless it breaks up past, now that it's finally first area we need to hold, which right now we came right back through, which we could be back testing the first area here. But we wanted to come up and hold. Right now in real time, it's moved up to about 59.40 area. So we want to be over that first layer is 59.40, first of all. But that's not how you invalidate this, or want to say that we're decoupling. We need to get up here higher than this still. What is going on? I'm missing, it looks like one of my charts. Definitely looks like something's going on here. Something's not right. XRP, XRP, USD, XRP, USD. Unless it's just not loading in. Oh yeah, it was taking a while for it to load up for some reason. So right now, in real time, it's actually a little bit higher than I said in real time. We need to get past this 61.1 cents. I mean, if we're below that rising channel resistance, I don't know how we can even say that we've reversed this yet. The one good thing is the fact that we've come back up a little bit, but it's nothing more than a back test right now. And here's the real area. Unless we're over this, and this is what I was referring to, 61's great, but in order to invalidate this drop, we've got to get over the 60.1 cent mark roughly. 60.2 maybe in real time, 60.17. Without being back above that, we have still signaled a drop to 55.8 to 56 cents. And we're just coming for a back test. That's the danger here. We need to make sure this isn't a back test for a further drop with XRP. And if it's not, if this is something to come, that we're about to rally, then we have to start looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum, especially Ethereum for our copy trading group. I've been waiting for this. We have 23 people back in, and now I'm starting to look at an opportunity. I didn't want to buy it earlier when it made the first wick drop down because I know it's going to try to exhaust back down. So let's see how it reacts, and if it builds some kind of formation here. We're massively oversold in the 30-minute, massively oversold in the hourly, massively oversold in the 2-hourly, pushing up into the range where we need to in the 4-hourly, but I think we still have one more drop for Ethereum, is what I'm feeling. I feel like for Ethereum, and I know I had a target before of 1,683, but if it rolls back down, I mean, I'm looking at this in a fashion, would it be out of the ordinary? And I don't know, 1,683 is kind of extreme, but would it be out of the ordinary? I don't know, that kind of might be too far. But what if it comes down, comes around, and it ends up making like a double bottom around 2K maybe? I'm looking for something where we have an extreme bounce back here. And I like to buy in the copy trading when we have big dumps. And we've been very successful. Sometimes you do lose out because you have a stop loss and it ends up stopping you out and you have to reevaluate when it gets a little bit lower. But this is setting up a trade for us, and we're going to try to dissect that as we go through this live. We're going to try to dissect the XRP pattern, and we're going to dissect the Bitcoin pattern as it, once again, it came through 62,750, but came right back through it in a 4-hourly sense the last day and a half or so. And now we're coming into an area where it's just like XRP. If it doesn't pull back very quickly and retake 62,750, as XRP needs to retake that 60 cent and then ultimately 61.1 to invalidate a drop to 55.8, which would retest the 2018 resistance as support, a real retest of support, I may add. So that's what we're looking at there. And if Bitcoin were to continue falling through, you're looking at 56,846 in time. We don't really want to come back down there. Laughing my ass off XRP trying to decouple. Yeah, see, you come in here like a jackass and you don't listen to what I'm saying, and that's cool. But attempts to decouple, and if you would have listened, it's trying to decouple on the day as to where Bitcoin and Ethereum are trying to break down. XRP is trying to move up in a bullish direction. Right now it is decoupling in that fashion on the day. It's attempting it, but as I stated, and I'm only going to explain to you once because you're probably just going to leave anyhow. It's trying to push up. It's trying to push up and it's trying to invalidate the drop. You know, that's the point. That's the point. Now, if I would have said XRP decouples, that would have been clickbait, as you suggest. I said attempts to decouple. Don't come in here spouting off because you're emotionally unstable. But that's all I'm going to acknowledge you, because I don't acknowledge the ones who don't carry a positive vibe. So if you're in here positivity over negativity, don't let your emotions make you look like a fool. And make sure to hit that like button. I will catch you on the other side of the intro. Yeah. Good early afternoon. 12:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, August 27th, 2024. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So I want to draw out this very quickly on Ethereum. I think Ethereum should be looked at very quickly here. It's pretty interesting because it looks like it wants to pull down, even though it's massively oversold. I've noticed a lot of times with Ethereum, even when it looks set up for a reversal, then it ends up, Kamala, yeah, see, that's kind of funny. You brought politics into it. See, it proves your mindset, my friend. Why would you bring in politics? You realize the right and left, you're a fool for following both, because politics don't matter. It's just a divisive tool. As you're trying to divide our audience right now with semantics. So unless you understand the central banks run the world, you're going to be a step behind. So there's no point for me to even acknowledge your questions anymore. So anyhow, let's see. I don't talk to the mind manipulated. Then it just takes my mood into another place. Let's see. So we've got this set up for a little bit of a downtrending resistance coming through. Got beaten down by the 200-day as well. Let's see. I mean, it could technically hold here. If we're looking for an opportunity on Ethereum for a short-term reversal, see, now this is what we needed to do. We needed to find a resistance level, a support level, and then we can find a structure if it were to break down or break out, what we'd be looking at. Right here is a nice area where it's already hit support and resistance. So if it broke down, where would we be looking at here on a quick flush? Right here. See, now this makes sense if it breaks down, a reason why you can attempt an entry here on a leverage, but it also could get a little dicey. because it could have an overzealous push too. But right now, if it breaks down 2,251, but I would be more looking at, let's see if it holds as well on a test of this support structure. I'll put a price label there so it's easier to see. But then we also have to look at the side where if it does come back up here, we could have a volatile spike. So I'm going to make sure to pay attention to this as it swings up and down. I'm going to make sure to pay attention to this very closely. So right now this resistance is at 2,787. Support right now 2,529, and we've proved it in these last couple times coming within this range. Now I understand that we could say, well, you know, that downtrending resistance is one thing, but couldn't we say that we're kind of having this up and sideways consolidation after the small breakdown, which, you know, that's one way to look at it. And some will say, right? Because then you start to form this little channel. But I don't want to go to that step yet. I want to see if that downtrending resistance holds weight before I start saying something like that. It's not going to really change the dynamic much, except we could, after a bounce here on support, we'd come up a little bit higher. And it would justify that. But until that happens, I don't want to change anything just yet. We're still in a very bad way as far as the consolidation down. But I think a lot of this, and this is why XRP you got to pay attention to if it's decoupling Bitcoin and Ethereum on the day. If it's attempting that decoupling on the day, because just because it decouples today, it doesn't mean it's going to stay tomorrow. But if it is today, and this is where you got to make sure your emotions don't dictate your response here. If it's an attempted decoupling on the day and it ends up pushing up past 60, that means Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to have a quick reversal. You have to understand the market maker's intentions here. That's what typically will happen. If it's not a fake out and the market continues down via Bitcoin and Ethereum, then it'll end up following XRP a day later. So understand what's happening. XRP is the secret gatekeeper, as it always is in these times. So they sure do, the great falling. They sure do. They sure do. And right now, that's why I'm paying attention to XRP, because if that's the case, and then XRP starts pushing, we could see a quick reversal from here on Bitcoin and Ethereum even. That's what I mean. The market's not always what it appears. It's not always what it appears, and there's a lot of clues, but a lot of people do lose out on the little nuances within the market because they get so caught up with their own emotion. It's amazing. It's amazing. There's so much information being let out here by what Bitcoin's doing in opposition of XRP. And with Ethereum falling closely, or actually twice as down, it's twice as big of a drop as Bitcoin. So it's showing us some kind of fortitude here, but it could just be for a quick rejection. That's why I'm not going to give my hopes up. First layer we got over, which is nice, is 59.4. It's nice. Absolutely it is. This morning it was 59.3 area, 59.28. Now it's 59.44. Looks like in the 3 hourly we're trying to invalidate a bearish cross in the 3 hourly. And then if we do, we would have to break past our very key level that we're watching all morning, is to get past that 60.17. Then you get back within a consolidation, and then it opens the door back up. Yeah, you're not just going to get right to 63 cents or a little bit above that now. You're not just going to get up there. You've got to pay for your sins now. You're going to have to get past the rising channel resistance at 61.1. And then after that, we're going to have to get past the most important area, which is the cup and handle resistance, where now it's crossing. That's crossing now. So that's at 62.28 now. Wow. Actually, the rising channel, that 61's a pivot point. We're going to delete that. The rising channel is meeting where the cup and handle resistance is, the downtrending resistance. That is very interesting. So really, for this pattern to not be bearish, we have to flip 62.28. Look how that's crossing right now. If you have never seen my chart, this one, you have a cup and handle that's formed, but you also have a rising channel within that downtrending resistance on the handle resistance. It's very interesting. Then we poured out of the rising channel because they're bearish reversals after you break down, and we dropped some 35-40%, established the falling channel support all the way down near 36 cents, in fact, or 37 on this chart. And then actually it was like 38, and then we pushed back up. Now in order to continue this momentum, we need to push past 62.20. I'm getting rid of this because even the 59.14 doesn't matter on this chart. We finally got to where both sides are meeting. This is where you either get the ultimate rejection or we finally start to break out. And I'm hoping, because we had that big pull down and actually retested the 2018 resistance line as support. Now we tested the support structure as well in the 2020 support before we came back up. So I'm hopeful that we could break out, but understanding that if this gets rejected, we have an open technical target now down to 55.8 cents, and it's ironically going to retest the 2018 resistance as a real support area if it happens. So I'm going to let the market play out in front of me right now. I have no interest in just taking out a leverage trade right now. I've already got spot positioning, as you know, in XRP. Most of you know, some of you don't. And, well, that's at 34, and then I took a little more out at 38. Sold most of it from 38 after it made the big run in the XRP Bitcoin pairing initially. And then I have XRP Healthcare as well, which XRP Healthcare right now is at 2.7%. It's been pretty stationary around this level. Minor pushes up and down, but for the last week to two, it's been pretty steady around this 2.5, 3 cent area. And really all it's doing is it's riding its uptrending support. And if this were to break down, you know, that could lead to another retest down farther. And with the way the market's going, you know, it could be a very big head and shoulders here. And then who knows? You know, this is where you could get a big dump in the markets. Or we've come to a big area of consolidation nationwide throughout the markets, and we're going to have a big rise. You know, that's the only two options. If you're on B2 Gold, pay attention to this level we talked about for a long time. This is where we want to make sure that it's not just a fake out. We've had a golden cross here in the 3 hourly. You know, we've recrossed in the 4 hourly for all intents and purposes. We just came through with a golden cross, recrossing, invalidating the death cross. Now we're just looking for a support tap. Right now it's in a beautiful spot. So this is what we wanted to see. We wanted to see this retest, and then we want to see a breakout up to 336. I mean, it would have to come past 307 and then 315 in time. But that's what we're going to see. We're going to see a lot of consolidation in this area. We bought in at $2.41. So watch that $2.78 if you're looking to sell out. Hell, you could even sell out the moment it goes through if you want to, but that's your prerogative. I only gave you the setup. Now it's your job to sell it for profit or continue holding if that's what you'd like to do. Gold at 2,512. Very resilient. Came up to our technical target absolutely perfectly. Now it's created what looks like a small bull flag here. And if it does break up and can hold 2,526, it's not a massive move, but it's about another $100 up to 2,616, and that would fulfill the short-term little handle here. That's a handle, even though I did adopt because it's a little cup and handle, but that's a bigger handle on a much larger 44-year pattern form here. This took 44 years to break this resistance. Then to back test it, this uptrending resistance, it back tested at 2,375. So assuming we never fall back below 2,375, we flipped a 44-year resistance, and now it's going to be off to the races. I mean, when I say off to the races, you've got a technical move after a 44-year breakout of being rejected at that same level and having to get further consolidation on the uptrend. The technical target's 4,025 on gold if it continues to hold this breakout. Now it can invalidate that thesis if it comes below 2,375 and has a drop down. Then we'll have to reevaluate the next breakout because it'll be a higher target if it does. But that's something to be watched and something to be understood here. So, but yeah, I mean, that's where I sit with the market right now. Let me know what you think. I have a live tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was going to do just a regular update, but I decided to do it live, just a live style update. It's not going to be an hour. It's just going to be a traditional update. So, unless anybody has anything else to add, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. We've got the XRP Bitcoin pairing right now that we can't break out here unless we get over the top. So, right now we're in a very nice consolidatory area. But if we can get over this 996, we can attempt this little bit of a breakout here. Our first technical target was 1164, which we've already hit. Now we came well back and consolidated. Now the next move would be 1278 if and when we get on top of 996 and can hold. So it's pretty interesting. Obviously, we'd have to break the 1164 and continue on, but I think it's pretty interesting what's starting to transpire here, in my opinion. So I'm pretty excited what's happening here, knowing that we could come down and have a bigger opportunity at 55.8 for some who aren't in, or some that want to swing, or whatever the case may be. But I like this. Hit the like, keep him going. Yeah, please hit that like button. Please. Jose, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. Hell, if somebody joined Tom's Army or paid it forward, we haven't had anyone pay it forward in a few days during the lives. You know, join a new member of Tom's Army. People sharing, hitting that like button, being positive in the comments are all ways to keep me going. But it was a rough start when I started, you know. So I came on here with the mindset that it was going to be a live update, and nothing's really changed that mindset. So, you know, I only deal with things as they come. So, but if you guys want to copy trade me, look in the video description below and our pinned comments. That's in the on a HOTCOIN, no VPN or KYC when you use that exchange, unless you want to send from a bank account or receive. You can trade XRP in real time. Same thing with BITUNIX, you just can't copy trade me there. But obviously take advantage of that. The Crypto Fear and Greed Index right now. I mean, I can copy trade whatever pair I want, but Ethereum and Bitcoin, for the fact of the liquidity, you'd have to watch my past videos to give it justice on why I say that, or actually look at the past history. But yeah, that's why I'm doing it. Is there a way to send donations via iPhone during live? I don't see any button to do so. Have no idea. I don't use an iPhone. You might have to go on the actual web browser to do it if the iPhone doesn't allow it. But if you are diligent and you actually want to send a donation, and you're like, hey, if I can't do it through through YouTube with the iPhone, you can go onto my XRP Future Millionaire homepage, click on the BITUNIX thing, and it has a way to donate through Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal as well. So you can do that, but honestly, it's not required. You don't have to come in here and think you have to send a donation. I'm just coming on here to do, you know, I wanted to do my due diligence here so everybody could see what was transpiring. And, you know, there's no requirement to send a donation, honestly. The Fear and Greed Index is at 48. It's neutral right now. Yesterday was at greed at 55. And look, the moment we hit greed, the market goes back down. Last week, we were in fear at 30. And I even said, or we've talked about, the fact that if you're not good in the market, you don't understand technicals, there's a simple philosophy. If there's fear, you buy and accumulate, and then you sell it when it turns into greed. And just rinse and repeat. Last month, we were at greed at 71. Bitcoin was up near 70K. This month, we went all the way down to last week, fear at 30. Right now, we're at neutral, and Bitcoin's down to what, 50, or not 58, 60... 61,900. So that's a big differential. So when there's fear in the market, you buy. When there's greed in the market, if you're not accumulating for a longer hold, you sell. You don't even need to look at the charts. Just, hey, we're in fear, I'm going to start to accumulate. We're in greed, I'm going to start to sell off. You know, that's an honest way to look at it. And it can keep you on track. It'll keep you on track. Now, XRP is kind of painful because just because it says greed or fear, it'll do whatever the hell it wants. Just like today. Bitcoin's down 1.5, Ethereum's down 3.7, XRP's up 1.6. You know, that's just the way it goes. But that's why you have to pay attention to their workings. Most people will say, XRP only does what Bitcoin does. Really? Is that why we're attempting a breakout of this vast consolidation while Bitcoin's breaking down presently? Because right now we're showing we're trying to break out back to the top side for XRP and at least retest a little bit higher level from 59.4. We're showing right now that we want to retest what we talked about here just not too long ago at 60.17 cents. 60.17 cents. So that's where I expect XRP to come up and hit. And we'll see if we're bullish or bearish from that zone. Kryptonian, thanks for being in Tom's Army along with Jay Mathers for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Yeah, Jay Mathers, I can look at the silver chart. Silver should be breaking out soon. The moment it can get a grasp over 30 bucks, as long as it doesn't lose 29.36, which we can lower that now, but it came through there. But I still think this is an area where we don't want to lose. I'm just going to keep it where I had it. And then it looks like we got a nice bull flag. As long as once we hold $30, it's going to be a quick run up here back to this 31 or $30. Yeah, about 31 bucks. But we're still waiting for a breakout, my friend. It's almost like a megaphone pattern, but it's a descending. This is a nice consolidation. It's got to come up to 31 bucks. I'm not saying that I'm a genius, but if you just look at the analysis, it came all the way down to the support structure. It hit it at $26 and right around 26 bucks. A little bit higher, but 26.50. And actually, let's see. Why do we even speculate? I can just move the price label a little bit. Yeah, 26.50, and now we have a push up to 31 bucks. Even if bearish, we need to come up and hit that resistance area. So that's a nice bull flag formed. I think commodities are going to have a nice rebound here. And they haven't even been down. They're just consolidating right now. And then if we break out of this, let's just say silver breaks out of this short-term consolidation. And we have higher targets. But the short-term breakout target, if it does break out of this, and trading views being a kind of a finicky right now, we've got somewhere around $34.30 is what we'd be looking at if we break out over the top. And I don't see any reason why silver, especially with what's being announced with some of the production and some of these new line of cars worldwide, it's going to take an extraordinary amount of silver for production. I don't know if any of you have heard about it, but there's a lot of production that's going to be coming up worldwide, not just in the USA, that's going to be using a lot of silver. They're going to have to reprice silver probably, because if they keep it at the price it's at, with the new production, retail, they're going to have to price out if this production's to be, if what we're hearing is true, they'll have to price out retail, and having it at 30 bucks isn't going to do it. You'll probably have to bring silver somewhere near 3 digits so people won't buy it, because it's going to end up having a catastrophic drop. And didn't I just tell everybody what was going to happen with XRP? I've been trying to say it during this whole live. What did I say in the beginning? Where were we going? And if I could trade XRP, I would, but some of you who have been experienced with the leverage trading, whenever I take out an XRP trade, now that there's 23 people following again, or 24, we would start out like 12 to 15% on a 10x trade. We've been down as much as 20% to open a 10x trade. So we can't do it. It's just, there's a problem with it. There's liquidity. I don't know what the issue is, but we've done fine. We're still up 235%. But I don't want to start out down 12 and 15% on a leverage trade every time and then have to work back. So I've been targeting Ethereum and Bitcoin because the leverage and liquidity differential is much better, and it makes it easier to copy trade. Now, who knows until I open the next trade how it's going to act, because we have 24 people. But I am targeting a buy at 2,000, assuming it holds right around 2,537. Assuming it holds. That was my area that oh no, it's a little bit lower. We can't have this off. It can't be off by the least, because I need to buy this, or at least be in the right spot. No, I guess that's right. It's pretty close. So 2,533 is where I want to buy this. If it comes down one more layer, let's say it drops 46 bucks real quick, that's where I want to see it. XRP, the whole reason I came onto this live was to talk about this move we just had. Can we get over 60.17 cents, or is this an overwhelming rejection? Today was the day in 2017 where all started to fly. XRP leads Bitcoin. Let's see if history repeats itself, or repeats. Your TA is amazing. I appreciate that. But this is why you can't just judge XRP based on Bitcoin. Everybody who says, oh, all you have to do is watch Bitcoin to see if XRP is going to move, well, then you would have missed out. Even if you wanted a short-term move, there's 2.18% right there. And on totality, it's like a 5 to 6% move from the 57 cent or 57.6 cent low. So now we're coming into the area. Do we break past 60.17, or is this just a run up for nothing and then we end up following Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the rest down? This is the importance of my live. I'm glad it's doing it in real time. And then if it breaks past that, don't think we're out of the woods yet. We need to get past the rising channel resistance that is meeting the cup and handle resistance that should be, or the resistance on the cup and handle, and that's at 62.28 cents. And yes, for the one saying my hair is amazing, I haven't cut it since this time, or July of 2023, because I said I wouldn't do it until XRP at all-time highs, or at least until it at $1 to prove how long everybody had to accumulate under $1. And now we're going on month 14. Never in my 40 years did I ever let it grow for over a year. and now we're at 14 months. So I feel blessed at 40 that it looks like that, I must say. So yeah, I appreciate the compliment. I do. I really do. So I mean, that's what we're looking at here, everybody. What do we think? While I'm here, it's been a half hour. What do we think? Does XRP continue moving, or is this a rejection point? I agree, Mule. Hair Nation does. Clear skies, Quarium will surprise. Yeah, Quarium and Solo definitely should be watched, but I have my eyes within the XRP ecosystem as well, so I definitely agree with you in a sense as well. Rejected, George says, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Daniel, yes, Tesla on the money with the battery. A lot of silver to be used there, right, my friend? A lot of silver. Rob Holkalik, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Always a pleasure to see you, my friend, and to talk to you outside of YouTube at times. Mike Stevenson, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. I don't know, it's tricky here. I would like to see what I want to see here. Let's say I want to see XRP go 60.15, reject, go to 59.44, support, let Ethereum come down to 2,537, let Bitcoin come down just a little bit more. I don't even care about Bitcoin. I just want Ethereum to go into that price range so we can buy. I'm very conservative, but I'm very suave. So if we do come below there, let's say it comes at 2,533. Now you ask yourself, where would you put your stop loss? Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. That is a good question. Because you would definitely see, here's the problem. That's 11% already at 2,506 on a 10x trade. You know, necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily want to have it below, you know, I wouldn't want to have that big of a risk even, 11%. But, you know, sometimes you got to have it out there. You certainly couldn't have it open this long because that would liquidate you. So you got to find a fine moment here. So what I would look for is after probably it bounces down to oh no, the other thing that could happen is 60.17, we could immediately go over, back test 60.17, then we push up to that 62.20 area, which is what I personally think is setting up in time here. But for Ethereum, I really would like to buy, I'm going to get rid of this because that's just a theory if it comes below. I don't necessarily want it to because I see a trade set up here. Ready? You want to know why I see a trade set up? We haven't confirmed this pattern. Typically when you have a bigger breakdown, you'll confirm the pattern. That's about a 10% reversal. And no way am I saying it's going to come all the way back up there, but it does open up the opportunity. It does. So let's see what happens here. But I'm setting things up as if, you know, I'm putting a plan in place just in case it does come down into those areas. And if we got really extremely lucky, we would see on that pull down to 2,533, because a lot of people are going to buy right here on leverage and say, look how oversold we are, 4 hourly push into oversold. Daily time frame, we're pushed right where we want to do. We want to come up and get rejected here on the downtrending trend line. Or well, every time we've resisted on that, we've had a nice move. You want to reject there and have the RSI go back towards oversold instead of pushing towards overbought. Remember, my RSI is inverted. So that's actually going towards overbought, not oversold like most people's. And then in the 4 hourly, we can see we're in a good spot. We're back in oversold. 3 hourly, massively oversold. 2 hourly, even worse off oversold. 1 hourly, we're in extreme oversold. 45, it just keeps getting worse. 30, it's getting worse. Now we're trying to get all ends to meet. 15's coming back up. 5 minutes coming back up. 3 minutes coming back up. We've got everything set up in the longer time frames. Now we just need the shorter ones to meet. And then we might be able to find that apex point where we can get a nice trade in. Now, you know, it is very dangerous because you don't know if it's going to stop. But I will evaluate, and I want to see if it does do what I'm theorizing. If it doesn't, no harm, no foul. And then I'll see if there's some kind of setup. Because I would like to, at the very least, get a retest at 2,000, right here, 2,600. And someone will be like, what the fuck? Why would I even buy that? Well, because if you start breaking it down into levels, let's say it comes to 2,533 and holds, it back tests and gets rejected at that 2,600 point where it tried last time. Well, now that's a 24% move and a 10x trade, so that's what I'm looking for. I don't care if it goes all the way back to the top or not. I'm just looking for a nice spot to make a trade. I don't live and die by Ethereum, but I do like to leverage trade it because of the way the liquidity works on certain exchanges. So that's what I'm looking at there. That's the rationale behind it. Ethereum's below 5,000 or 2,570. XRP looks like it got that rejection initially at 60. What did it end up hitting on that push up? $60.009 roughly. So I mean, it hit 60. Now what I was saying is I would like to see a back test of 594 and then a volatile push up and then hold at this level at 50 or 60.1, then push up to that 62.2, which that's where it's all going to meet. You want to talk about XRP's destiny? The destiny is held within on XRP, believe it or not, because it's true. The destiny for XRP is held within this exact point where that cup and handle and rising channel meet. That's the cup and handle resistance and the rising channel resistance. That should be support right now. We got to get it past both of those. We got to make that the new area of support, and then we can push up in the next openings 85 or 86 cents on the rising channel resistance over the top. We do have some mid-tier resistance that I put in there, but now if you look at the top of this rising channel, you're talking about 87 cents over the top. So, but you know, that's what I'm looking at. Thank you everybody for watching this too. I appreciate it very, very much so. Hey Kryptonian, thank you for the $5 donation through Cash App. I greatly appreciate that. I greatly appreciate that. In fact, it's my first donation in a couple days through the lives. I appreciate it very much so. George, welcome in. He says James Crypto grew 800,000 of all his crypto on last night's live. He's expecting a massive crash. Yeah, I've talked about the guru in here. I've talked about the guru. I always talk about how I like watching him because he's a venture capitalist and he deals with large amounts of money. Large amounts of money. He did pull out all his money yesterday. He's been up and down, up and down. His account right now is at about 600 and I think 14,000 after the drop. But he's been up as high as 800 and something thousand, as low as 200,000. So he's definitely somebody if you're looking for large amounts of money. I've always said, you know, take the analysis for one thing, but he's showing you exactly what he does with large amounts of money. And he tells you he's a seed investor in a lot of things, so he's not steering you in the wrong direction. I just don't like that he's on Bybit. I think Bybit's a hack exchange, and it proves it a lot of times when he tries to sell because he can't get the order and he's got to sell it in portions. Even though they're not hundreds of thousands, they're $20,000 trades. It's not like we're talking about 500,000-600,000 on one single trade. But yet, you know, I don't like Bybit. That's the only thing I don't like about what he preaches is Bybit. But I don't have to worry about Bybit. It's not available in the USA anyhow. But I'm just saying, I like his analysis though. I like what he does and he puts himself out there. So, you know, you're the first person who's ever brought up his name aside from me talking about him. So, I think he overcharges for a stupid course. Charging somebody $333 is kind of ridiculous. But, you know, he is the guru, right? But anyhow, I do like him overall. He doesn't know I exist. But, although I do suspect he does, because I've seen a lot of his, well, we won't get into it, but I suspect he knows I exist. But look at Ethereum starting to have this consolidation downward like I was looking for. Remember we talked about at the start of this. I want this consolidation down and we can start to look at an area here. Yes or no? Is there anybody part of the leverage trading community here right now? Yes or no? That's all I want to know. Yes or no, are you part of the leverage trading community so I can ask a question to you? There's probably a couple people in here with 73 people that are part of the community, if I'm being honest. No, not yet. Oh, no, I'm not telling you to join it either. Believe me, it's very volatile and you're probably going to lose money. So if you're not in it, probably a smart decision. Mark Caston, yes, he is in it. So Mark, do you think that I'm targeting an appropriate buy if it comes down to 2,533 for some kind of consolidation here back to the top side, even if it's only a small consolidation, because we need to see this wick exhausted, remember. This is where a lot of people get trapped in these moments if they're going to try a swing. They'll buy the exhaustion, they won't sell it when it comes up, and then they ride it through the exhaustion candle when it comes to the real support, and then they won't buy it again. You would if you could afford it. Well, I mean, technically you could put $10 in there and you could follow it. So you don't, I only do $100. We built $100 into 335 right now, so it's not like I'm using some massive amount of liquidity. But I understand exactly what you mean. I was at a point not too long ago, a few years ago, where 10 bucks wasn't even attainable, so I actually understand what you're saying. So, you know, but that's what we're trying to do together. We're trying to build in one way or another. And a lot of it comes from, we build in small cycles, like in 21. It leads into something bigger when we sold out in, you know, 21 a few weeks after, because we needed to, because it was the end of that cycle. And then we were able to put some in gold and silver and let that mature. And now we're able to do what we got to do. Looking for 2,342 on Ethereum myself. All right, so we're in the right area. We are in the right area. Now, it could be somewhere in between what we're both saying. I would tend to say it's going to be, I think it's going to line up personally. And I think it's beautiful how it's lining up. I think it's personally going to line up with this. Probably that exhaustion wick down here. It came all the way around, and now I think it could, if it's going to hold bounce like that. And then it would satisfy. You see what we haven't done yet? There's an FVG gap there. For anybody who doesn't know, FVG is a fair value gap. So my intended buy there was that if we came back down here, which we did, we put a head and shoulders in, was if we filled, there's no reason to buy it here unless you're going to buy it again here, because you've got to fill the gap now that we're here. If you know anything about the FVG or the fair value gap, they get filled. Sometimes you skip them if they don't come back down and ever come back into the area. But when they come back into the area, you better expect it to go. And now the fact we're at 2,565, I would be shocked. I would be shocked if we don't test that FVG gap at 25.32 area. So that's what I care about. I care about the real areas that actually play through. I don't care about FUD and fear. I'm not trying to mislead you through representation in a title. That's why I was so hot. That's why I get so hot when somebody misrepresents what I'm trying to say. Because only I know what I'm trying to say. You can theorize in your own head what I'm trying to say, but you can't present it to the audience as fact. You got to keep that within yourself if that's what you're trying to do. Now, if you want to constructively criticize me for being a douchebag, well, that's one thing. But you know, you don't misrepresent what I'm trying to say, because it all leads into a very nice parallel way. Why does the RSI say it's overbought when it looks like Ethereum is oversold? No, listen, my RSI is inverted. It's exactly, you might, but if you just came in here, you wouldn't know. So I'm not going to get mad at you. I invert my RSI so that I know if my audience is paying attention. Because if anybody's watching me over any length of time, they would know. And if you're not, or if you've been away, you wouldn't know that I do that. But I do that for a reason. Because to me, if it's oversold, I want it to be on the top side. I don't want it to be on the bottom for oversold. Oversold on the bottom, it looks bad to me. On the top, if it's oversold, a push down means a price push up, in my opinion, the way I like to look at it. Obviously, that's not how it's correlated in the real world, but I think this should be an inverted chart. I think it should be inverted to the price action. That's just my own personal opinion, so I made it that way because that's what I want it to be. So that's all. That's all. But great question. Great question, because for the untrained eye in my audience, because for the trained eye, this would be overbought right now. But I've had people tell me there's no way that things can be so oversold when the price hasn't made a new all-time high. And I always try to tell everybody, and I know you didn't say that, Ronnie, I'm just saying for anybody who's thinking this, the price has no relation to the relative strength index or the stochastic. The price related to its past performance has nothing to do with it. It's a general consensus of the most recent price action, or at least the general flow within the buyers and sellers. So just remember that too when you're watching this kind of stuff. You know, it's not rocket science, but if you put yourself in the right areas to be successful, you can use the indicators to your advantage too. Yes, a method to the madness, Ronnie. That is right. That is right. So, but I mean, Julie's mom's here. I'm going to let everybody go. That's what I wanted to discuss in this live, and hopefully you'll all come back at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight.